The oracle priests, divine prophecy and sacred revelation. The speaker of divine voices. In the sacred oracle chambers deep within Tenochtitlan's Templo Mayor, where ancient wisdom channeled divine communications through prophetic visions and sacred revelation, provided essential guidance for imperial decisions, Itzel Teoxihqui, the supreme oracle priest, whose spiritual gifts enabled direct communication with the cosmic deities, prepared to interpret 7 unprecedented divine messages that had emerged during the recent celestial disturbances, while understanding that authentic prophetic service required not merely visionary reception, but systematic divine translation that could decode cosmic communications into practical guidance, discern authentic divine revelation from spiritual deception, and provide sacred counsel, serving both imperial welfare and cosmic balance through generations of accumulated oracle wisdom and mythological understanding. The urgent prophecy interpretation session involved analyzing divine communications of unprecedented complexity and cosmic significance whose mysterious symbolic content suggested fundamental changes approaching the empire, while requiring careful spiritual discernment to distinguish authentic divine revelation from potentially deceptive spiritual influences that might mislead imperial decision-making through false prophetic guidance. The primary divine communication reveals Quetzalcoatl appearing in Eastern visions, accompanied by strange bearded figures bearing unknown symbols, while secondary revelations indicate Tezcatlipoca's smoking mirror, reflecting images of floating temples and 4-legged creatures, suggesting transformations beyond current mythological understanding. Itzel announced during the emergency consultation with senior oracle priests and imperial advisors. However, the symbolic complexity and unprecedented nature of these communications requires careful spiritual analysis to determine whether they represent authentic divine prophecy or potentially deceptive spiritual manifestations designed to confuse imperial judgment and cosmic understanding. This prophetic analysis reflected the sophisticated spiritual discernment that characterized Aztec oracle practices, where divine communications required systematic interpretation through established mythological frameworks while maintaining spiritual vigilance against deceptive influences that could mislead imperial guidance and cosmic understanding. The divine communication reception involved systematic spiritual preparation, enabling direct contact with cosmic deities whose prophetic messages provided essential guidance for imperial decisions, while requiring specialized spiritual techniques and protective procedures that ensured authentic divine connection and accurate prophetic transmission. Divine communication protocols include comprehensive spiritual purification through fasting, bloodletting, and copal incense ceremonies, specialized visionary techniques utilizing sacred plants and meditation practices, protective spiritual procedures preventing deceptive influence and ensuring authentic divine contact, and systematic prophetic recording, preserving accurate divine message transmission. Detailed Yaotael, the communication specialist who managed oracle reception procedures and ensured spiritual authenticity of divine contact, supporting reliable prophetic guidance and cosmic communication. This communication methodology provided frameworks for authentic divine contact while ensuring spiritual protection and accurate prophetic reception through systematic spiritual techniques and protective procedures, serving both prophetic authenticity and imperial spiritual welfare. The sacred revelation interpretation required correlating prophetic visions with established mythological patterns, astronomical observations, and historical precedents, while decoding symbolic divine communications into practical guidance for imperial decision-making and territorial administration. The interpretation procedures involved systematic analysis of prophetic symbols according to traditional mythological correspondences, correlation with current astronomical events and celestial patterns affecting divine communication, comparison with historical prophetic precedents and their fulfillment outcomes, and integration with ongoing imperial circumstances requiring divine guidance and spiritual direction. Prophetic interpretation includes detailed symbolic analysis utilizing traditional mythological frameworks and divine communication patterns, astronomical correlation, identifying celestial influences affecting divine message transmission, historical precedent evaluation, assessing similar prophetic communications and their outcomes, and practical application development, translating divine guidance into actionable imperial policy recommendations, analyzed Citlali, the interpretation specialist who maintained expertise in prophetic symbolism and mythological correspondence, supporting accurate divine communication analysis and practical guidance development. This interpretation methodology ensured accurate prophetic understanding while providing frameworks for translating divine communications into practical guidance through systematic spiritual analysis and mythological knowledge application, serving imperial decision-making and cosmic understanding. The cosmic deity consultation involved systematic communication with the major divine powers whose prophetic guidance shaped imperial destiny while managing complex relationships between competing divine authorities and their sometimes conflicting spiritual messages and cosmic requirements. Divine consultation includes formal communication with Quetzalcoatl, the feathered serpent deity governing wind, knowledge, and cosmic transformation, plus systematic contact with Tezcatlipoca, the smoking mirror god controlling night, conflict, and divine judgment affecting imperial spiritual welfare, outlined Xochitl, the deity specialist who managed relationships with cosmic powers and ensured appropriate divine consultation supporting comprehensive prophetic guidance and spiritual protection. This divine consultation provided comprehensive spiritual guidance while managing complex divine relationships and potentially conflicting cosmic messages through systematic spiritual communication and divine relationship coordination, serving imperial spiritual welfare and cosmic balance. The astronomical prophecy correlation involved integrating celestial observations with divine communications while utilizing sophisticated astronomical knowledge to confirm prophetic timing and cosmic significance of divine messages affecting imperial destiny and territorial spiritual welfare. Astronomical correlation includes systematic observation of planetary movements and celestial phenomena affecting divine communication timing, integration of calendar calculations, identifying spiritually significant periods for prophetic reception, correlation with eclipse cycles and other cosmic events enhancing divine message transmission, and predictive analysis utilizing astronomical patterns supporting prophetic confirmation and timing assessment. Calculated Milintica, the astronomical coordinator who specialized in celestial observation supporting prophetic interpretation and divine communication timing analysis. This astronomical integration provided temporal frameworks for prophetic understanding while confirming divine communication timing through sophisticated celestial observation and mathematical calculation supporting accurate prophetic analysis and spiritual guidance timing. The imperial policy guidance involved translating prophetic communications into practical recommendations for territorial administration, military strategy, and diplomatic coordination, while ensuring that divine guidance served imperial welfare through appropriate policy implementation and strategic decision-making. Policy guidance development includes systematic analysis of prophetic implications for current imperial circumstances and challenges, strategic recommendation formulation based on divine communication content and mythological precedent, coordination with imperial advisors, ensuring practical implementation of divine guidance, and ongoing monitoring assessing policy effectiveness and continued divine approval. coordinated Itzpapalotl, the policy specialist who translated prophetic guidance into practical imperial recommendations supporting divine guidance implementation and territorial spiritual welfare. This policy integration ensured practical application of divine communications while providing frameworks for implementing prophetic guidance through systematic policy development and strategic recommendations serving imperial welfare and cosmic compliance. The spiritual protection procedures involved maintaining sacred barriers against deceptive spiritual influences while ensuring that prophetic communications originated from authentic divine sources rather than potentially malevolent spiritual entities seeking to mislead imperial decision-making through false revelation. Spiritual protection includes comprehensive purification rituals, preventing deceptive spiritual influence and ensuring authentic divine contact, protective ceremony performance, creating sacred barriers against malevolent entities and false prophetic communication, verification procedures confirming divine communication authenticity and spiritual source reliability, and ongoing spiritual monitoring maintaining prophetic accuracy and divine connection integrity, managed Nikali, the protection specialist who ensured spiritual safety and prophetic authenticity, supporting reliable divine communication and imperial spiritual security. This protection methodology provided essential spiritual security while ensuring prophetic reliability through systematic protection procedures and divine communication verification, serving both spiritual safety and prophetic accuracy. The prophetic verification systems involved cross-referencing divine communications with multiple spiritual sources, while utilizing traditional verification procedures that could confirm prophetic authenticity and distinguish genuine divine revelation from potentially deceptive spiritual manifestations. Verification procedures include consultation with multiple oracle sources confirming consistent prophetic communication patterns, correlation with traditional mythological precedents and divine communication frameworks, assessment of prophetic fulfillment outcomes, validating divine message accuracy and spiritual authenticity, and systematic evaluation of spiritual source reliability, ensuring continued prophetic credibility and divine connection quality. Detailed Teoxihqui, the verification coordinator who maintained prophetic accuracy standards and divine communication reliability, supporting imperial spiritual guidance and prophetic credibility. This verification approach ensured prophetic reliability while providing frameworks for confirming divine communication authenticity through systematic spiritual evaluation and multiple source correlation, serving prophetic accuracy and imperial spiritual guidance quality. The community spiritual preparation involved coordinating imperial and territorial spiritual readiness for prophetic fulfillment, while ensuring that divine communications received appropriate community response and spiritual preparation necessary for cosmic compliance and divine approval. Community preparation includes systematic spiritual instruction, preparing imperial population for prophetic fulfillment and divine guidance implementation, ceremonial coordination, ensuring appropriate religious observance and cosmic compliance, territorial communication distributing divine guidance and spiritual preparation requirements, and collective spiritual activity coordination supporting prophetic fulfillment and divine approval. Organized Yautl during community spiritual coordination activities supporting prophetic preparation and territorial spiritual readiness. This community approach provided comprehensive spiritual preparation while ensuring that prophetic guidance received appropriate imperial and territorial response through systematic spiritual coordination and divine guidance implementation, serving cosmic compliance and imperial spiritual welfare. The historical prophecy analysis involved studying previous divine communications and their fulfillment patterns while building comprehensive understanding of prophetic precedents and divine communication patterns that could inform current prophetic interpretation and imperial spiritual guidance. Historical analysis includes comprehensive study of previous divine communications and their fulfillment outcomes, identification of prophetic patterns and divine communication cycles affecting imperial spiritual guidance, assessment of mythological precedents, providing frameworks for current prophetic interpretation, and systematic evaluation of divine communication reliability and spiritual accuracy supporting continued prophetic credibility. Analyzed similarly during historical precedent coordination supporting prophetic understanding and divine communication pattern recognition. This historical approach provided interpretive frameworks while building institutional knowledge of prophetic patterns through systematic study of divine communication precedents and fulfillment outcomes, serving prophetic accuracy and spiritual guidance quality. The territorial oracle coordination involved managing prophetic communications throughout imperial territories while ensuring consistent divine guidance and spiritual coordination across diverse regional spiritual centers and local oracle traditions. Territorial coordination includes systematic communication with regional oracle centers, ensuring consistent prophetic interpretation and divine guidance distribution. Integration of local spiritual traditions with imperial oracle practices, coordination of territorial spiritual preparation for prophetic fulfillment, and unified spiritual response management supporting imperial divine guidance and territorial spiritual welfare. Coordinated Teoxihqui during territorial oracle management activities, supporting comprehensive prophetic coordination and spiritual guidance unity. This territorial approach provided unified spiritual guidance while coordinating diverse regional oracle traditions through systematic communication and spiritual coordination, serving imperial spiritual unity and territorial divine guidance consistency. The emergency prophetic response involved providing urgent spiritual guidance during crisis situations while maintaining prophetic accuracy and divine communication reliability despite abbreviated spiritual preparation and immediate guidance requirements. Emergency response protocols include rapid divine communication procedures for urgent spiritual guidance requirements, abbreviated but spiritually effective purification and communication techniques, immediate prophetic interpretation utilizing established analytical frameworks and divine communication patterns, and crisis spiritual guidance coordination supporting urgent imperial decision-making and spiritual requirements. Developed Quetzalcoatl during emergency spiritual planning supporting crisis prophetic guidance and urgent divine communication. These emergency capabilities provided essential spiritual guidance during crisis situations while maintaining prophetic accuracy and divine communication reliability through systematic emergency procedures and rapid spiritual guidance development, serving urgent imperial spiritual needs. The prophetic education and training involved developing future oracle priests while preserving traditional spiritual knowledge and divine communication techniques through systematic instruction and institutional knowledge transmission. Prophetic education includes comprehensive spiritual training in divine communication techniques and protective procedures, systematic instruction in mythological frameworks and prophetic interpretation methods, practical experience in oracle reception and divine consultation under experienced supervision, and traditional knowledge preservation ensuring continued availability of qualified oracle practitioners. Managed Nakali during educational program coordination supporting institutional knowledge transmission and prophetic training quality. This educational approach ensured institutional continuity while maintaining prophetic expertise through systematic training and knowledge preservation, serving continued spiritual guidance quality and oracle tradition maintenance. The divine message documentation involved creating comprehensive records of prophetic communications while preserving divine guidance for future reference and institutional memory, supporting continued spiritual guidance and prophetic pattern recognition. Documentation procedures include systematic recording of divine communications utilizing traditional pictographic methods and spiritual symbolism, preservation of prophetic interpretation analysis and divine guidance development, maintenance of prophetic fulfillment records, supporting verification and pattern recognition, and institutional archive coordination, ensuring continued access to prophetic knowledge and spiritual guidance history. Coordinated Teoxihqui during archival management, supporting prophetic knowledge preservation and institutional memory maintenance. This documentation approach provided institutional memory while preserving prophetic knowledge through systematic recording and archival procedures, serving continued spiritual guidance and oracle tradition maintenance. The cosmic balance maintenance involved ensuring that prophetic guidance served universal spiritual harmony while managing divine communications in ways that supported cosmic order and spiritual balance rather than disrupting divine relationships or universal spiritual welfare. Cosmic balance coordination includes systematic attention to divine relationship harmony and universal spiritual welfare, prophetic guidance implementation supporting rather than disrupting cosmic order and divine balance, spiritual response coordination, maintaining proper relationships with all cosmic powers and divine authorities, and universal spiritual welfare assessment, ensuring prophetic guidance serves comprehensive cosmic harmony, managed Teoxihqui during cosmic balance coordination supporting universal spiritual welfare and divine relationship harmony. This cosmic approach ensured universal spiritual welfare while maintaining divine relationship harmony through systematic spiritual coordination and cosmic balance assessment, serving comprehensive spiritual guidance and universal divine approval. As evening approached and urgent prophetic sessions concluded with preliminary divine guidance recommendations and continued spiritual monitoring of cosmic communications, Itzel reflected on the profound responsibility that oracle priesthood entailed. These divine communications provided essential guidance for imperial destiny while connecting earthly decisions with cosmic purposes through systematic spiritual interpretation and divine relationship management. The oracle priests who provided these sophisticated spiritual services served as essential bridges between divine wisdom and human understanding, whose prophetic expertise enabled imperial spiritual guidance while maintaining cosmic spiritual balance through systematic divine communication and prophetic interpretation, serving both imperial welfare and universal spiritual harmony. Through careful attention to spiritual authenticity, divine relationship management, prophetic verification, and cosmic balance maintenance, oracle priesthood created frameworks for divine guidance that served both temporal decision-making and eternal spiritual purposes. Through systematic spiritual interpretation and divine communication, serving imperial guidance and cosmic spiritual welfare. The oracle priests of the Aztec Empire represented sophisticated integration of spiritual communication, divine relationship management, and prophetic interpretation that enabled systematic divine guidance through cosmic spiritual connection, serving both imperial decision-making and universal spiritual balance. The prophetic wisdom they preserved became foundations of imperial spiritual guidance that connected earthly governance with divine purposes while maintaining cosmic spiritual balance through systematic divine communication and prophetic interpretation, serving both temporal welfare and eternal spiritual harmony. Oracle priesthood served as cornerstone of divine guidance that connected imperial decision-making with cosmic wisdom while maintaining prophetic traditions that honored both divine communication and universal spiritual welfare through systematic attention to divine relationship management and cosmic balance preservation in service to both human temporal needs and eternal cosmic harmony. The divine communications they facilitated became bridges between cosmic wisdom and earthly understanding that enabled authentic spiritual guidance while providing essential divine counsel for imperial destiny through systematic prophetic interpretation interpretation, and divine relationship coordination, serving both immediate temporal guidance and eternal cosmic spiritual balance through sacred oracle service and divine communication facilitation.